All right, so get ready, because today we're going deep into a world that's surprisingly dangerous. The world of animals. You know, those creatures we share the planet with, right? We're going to uncover which ones are actually the biggest threat to us humans.
And I bet you'll be surprised to hear that it's not all just sharks and tigers, lurking in the shadows. This deep dive, it's going to challenge some of those assumptions, those Hollywood-inspired ones.
Exactly, exactly. We're basing this whole exploration on a really fascinating article, actually. It's from BBC Science Focus. And get this, the title is Top 10 Most Dangerous Animals in the World Ranked. And let me tell you, the results are, well, they're eye-opening for sure.
Yeah, for instance, sharks, right? Those like iconic predators of the deep. Well, they only come in at number 7 on the list. Can you believe that? Responsible for around 70 deaths per year.
70 deaths, I mean, that's still significant, don't get me wrong, but way less than I would have guessed, given their whole reputation. So what are we missing here? What's the bigger picture?
Well, the article, it really emphasizes this point that a lot of the deadliest creatures, they actually kill via disease, not direct attacks. So it's not always about razor sharp teeth and claws that we got to worry about, right?
Yeah.
It's often these silent, invisible threats that they carry.
Okay, so we're talking about a whole different kind of danger here. This is where it gets really interesting, huh?
Totally. Let's kick things off with number 10 on the list, okay? Lions. So these majestic predators, they're responsible for something like 200 human deaths every year.
Okay, lions, definitely dangerous, no doubt, but maybe a little less lethal than their, king of the jungle image would suggest, right?
Right. Now, don't underestimate their bite force, though. It's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, it can crush bone, just like that. But what's really fascinating, honestly, is their roar. You know how loud it can get? 114 decibels. That's louder than a jackhammer.
Whoa, I would not want to be on the receiving end of that, that's for sure. Talk about a wake-up call. All right, so what's next on this list of, these unexpected dangers?
Well, coming in at number 9, we've got the hippopotamus. Yeah, you heard right, the herbivore. And get this, they're linked to roughly 500 human deaths annually.
Wait, hold on, hippos? They eat plants? What makes them so deadly? I'm picturing, those cute chubby faces right now.
Don't let that image fool ya. Hippos, they are fiercely territorial, especially when it comes to, protecting their young or their territory in the water. And their aggression, well, it's backed up by serious power. Get this, one bite, just one single bite from a hippo can literally cut a human, get this, in half.
Okay, that image is officially replacing the cute hippo one in my mind. Gruesome, but I guess that's the reality of the wild, right?
It is. And speaking of sheer size, at number 8, you ready for this one? We've got elephants, causing roughly 600 deaths every year.
Now, I know elephants are massive, obviously, but I always kind of thought of them as gentle giants. Are we talking accidental tramplings here, or is it something more than that?
It's kind of a combination of things, really. Their size alone, I mean, come on, just their size makes them a force to be reckoned with. Imagine the crushing weight, right, of an 8-ton elephant. I mean, come on.
Right.
But what's truly remarkable, I think, is their trunk,
Yeah.
the dexterity and the strength of their trunks.
I've seen videos of them using their trunks to pick up these tiny objects. I can only imagine the force they can generate with something like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They can uproot trees, no problem, toss around objects that weigh, hundreds of pounds, and, yeah, even fling a human around like a rag doll if they feel threatened.
Okay, that's enough to make anyone think twice, before getting too close to an elephant, no matter how gentle they might seem.
You got that right. Now, at number 7, we've got a predator that definitely lives up to its reputation. It's the crocodile, linked to, get this, an estimated 1,000 human deaths every year.
This one isn't so surprising, I gotta admit. I mean, those teeth, and I've heard about their bite force. Oh, man.
It's astounding, their bite force. The Nile crocodile, for example, I mean, they've got the strongest bite of any animal out there. Jaw-dropping, really. 5,000 PSI. And even the saltwater crocodile, with its quote-unquote measly 3,700 PSI bite, I mean, it's still more than enough to make you shudder.
And we can't forget about that death roll, right? The way they spin their prey underwater to, tear it apart. I mean, it's like something out of a horror movie.
Absolutely. All right, moving on to number 6, we've got scorpions, responsible for something like 3,300 human deaths each year.
I know, not all scorpions are deadly, but I've always kind of been wary of those creepy crawlers.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
Certain species, like the it's aptly named the death stalker. I mean, it packs venom that's incredibly potent, especially for vulnerable populations like children, the elderly.
It's just fascinating how such small creatures can be such a significant threat. And this brings us to the point where, that disease factor we mentioned earlier, it really comes into play here. At number 5, we've got the assassin bug linked to 10,000 human deaths annually.
Yeah. These bugs, they might seem, unassuming, but they're carriers of Chagas disease, which is a serious parasitic illness, affects millions of people around the world.
So it's not just their bite we need to worry about then, right?
Nope, not at all. You can actually contract Chagas disease from contaminated food or even drinks, that have come into contact with the bugs, with its feces.
So it's a much less obvious route of transmission then. And I understand that Chagas disease can have long-term health consequences too.
Absolutely. It can lead to some serious issues down the line with the heart, digestive system, nervous system issues. And get this, it could even be passed from a mother to her child, during pregnancy.
That's really scary. It just goes to show you that sometimes the deadliest threats are the ones we least expect, Okay, I have a feeling this next one is going to surprise a lot of people, all right? At number 4, with a staggering 59,000 deaths per year, we have, wait for it, dogs, man's best friend.
It's a stark reminder, I think, that sometimes the danger isn't the animal itself, but what it carries. In this case, we're talking about rabies, which is it's a viral disease that's it's almost always fatal once the symptoms actually appear.
It's heartbreaking to think that, a beloved pet could pose such a deadly threat. And this is especially a problem in areas with, limited access to healthcare, right?
Yes. Rabies it's a major concern in a lot of parts of the world, especially in regions where stray dog populations are high and vaccination programs are limited.
It's a complex issue, no easy solutions there. Okay, let's move on to I guess you could say a more expected entry on the list, at least when it comes to perceived danger. At number 3, with the chilling 138,000 deaths per year, it's snakes.
Right. Snakes, they have a reputation for being deadly and for good reason, right? They come equipped with a variety of ways of killing. Everything from the lightning fast venom of the black mamba, which, just two drops can be fatal, to the powerful constriction techniques, that pythons use.
I'll admit it, I've got a bit of a snake phobia. That the idea of being constricted and then swallowed whole, it's definitely that's nightmare material.
And those pythons, they can get they get massive. We're talking up to 10 meters long. That's longer than a school bus.
Okay, officially adding pythons to my list of things to avoid at all costs. But seriously, it's amazing how diverse the snake world is, with so many different hunting strategies and venom types and all of that.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the power of evolution and adaptation. Now this next entry on the list, you might be surprised, and it's definitely a bit controversial, but here it is at number 2, with a staggering 400,000 deaths per year. We have humans.
Wait, so are we talking about humans killing other humans here?
Yeah, we are. We're talking about homicide. It's a sobering reminder, really, that we are capable of, incredible violence, not just towards each other, but also towards the natural world.
It's a complex issue, that's for sure, and one that raises a lot of questions about human nature and our place in the world, really.
For sure. It challenges our assumptions about what species are truly dangerous, and it forces us to confront the darker aspects of our own behavior, for sure.
It's a lot to process, that's for sure. Okay, drum roll please. Time to reveal the number 1 deadliest animal on the planet. And the winner is, well, it's mosquitoes.
Yep. Those tiny buzzing insects, they're responsible for, get this, a staggering 725,000 deaths every year, primarily through the spread of diseases like malaria, dengue fever, Zika virus.
I know mosquitoes are annoying, everyone knows that, but I never realized they were that deadly. It's incredible to think that such a small creature can have such a huge impact on global health, really.
It's undeniable, their impact. In fact, think about it. Mosquitoes have played a pretty significant role in shaping human history. For For example, malaria epidemics have been linked to like the decline of ancient civilizations like the Roman Empire even. And then during the American Revolution, right, mosquito-borne diseases, they took a heavy toll on both British and American troops.
It's amazing to think that these tiny insects have had such an outsized influence on the course of human history. I mean, really.
Their impact, it continues to this day, for sure. Malaria, especially, I mean, it remains a major public health challenge, especially in sub-Saharan Africa.
So while lions and crocodiles might grab the headlines, it's the tiny mosquito that reigns supreme, as the deadliest animal on Earth.
It's a good reminder that danger can come in all shapes and sizes, and that sometimes the greatest threats are the ones we just overlook.
This has been an incredible start to our deep dive. Seriously, we've gone from lions to mosquitoes, and I'm already questioning everything I thought I knew about the animal kingdom. So what's next on our journey?
Well, now that we've kind of unveiled the top 10, right? The top 10 deadliest animals, it's time to, I think, delve a little deeper into the reasons behind these rankings. We'll explore the fascinating interplay really between animals and humans, and we'll examine how our actions are impacting that delicate balance of nature.
I can't wait to unpack all of that. Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into the deadliest animals on the planet.
So welcome back to our deep dive into the deadliest animals on the planet.
Yeah.
We just unveiled the top 10, and I'm sure some of those rankings they probably raised a few eyebrows.
Oh yeah, my mind is still blown by those mosquitoes, seriously. It's a good reminder that, sometimes the biggest threats, they come in the smallest packages. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's go back to those like larger than life creatures, the ones we discussed in part 1. We're talking elephants, hippos, crocodiles, those animals that are dangerous simply by virtue of their their size and strength.
You're right. Sometimes sheer power. I mean, it's enough to make an animal a pretty formidable threat. Take hippos for instance. We talk about their territorial nature, but it's worth, I think, digging a little deeper into what drives that aggression.
Yeah, I'm curious to learn more about that, the why behind their behavior. I mean, they seem so chill, when you see them like lazing around in the water.
Well, that calm exterior, it hides a surprisingly complex social structure. Hippos they're incredibly protective of their young, and they'll fiercely defend their territory, especially those like prime spots along the riverbank.
So it's not just about random acts of aggression. It's about protecting what's theirs, right?
Right.
And then with those massive teeth and those powerful jaws, they can certainly inflict some serious damage.
Oh, absolutely. A hippo bite, I mean, it can generate over 1,800 psi of pressure. To put that into perspective, that's more than twice the bite force of a lion.
Wow, that's a whole lot of pressure. No wonder they can so easily crush bones and even bite a human in half, like we mentioned, earlier.
Now, when it comes to elephants, the perception of them, as gentle giants, it can be a bit misleading. While they're generally peaceful animals, they can be unpredictable and dangerous, especially when they feel threatened or stressed.
We talked about their incredible tongue strength, but I'm curious to know more about how that translates into actual danger for humans.
Well, think about it this way, okay? An elephant's trunk, it's essentially an all-purpose tool. It's a nose, it's a hand, it's a weapon, and it's a communication device, all rolled into one. They use it for everything, from breathing and smelling to picking up food and manipulating objects.
Right. I've seen videos of them like delicately picking up like a single blade of grass with their trunk. But then you also see them like uprooting entire trees. It's that combination of strength and dexterity that's just so remarkable.
Exactly. And when you combine that with their massive size and weight, you can see how easily they can cause harm, whether intentionally or accidentally.
It makes you realize that respect and caution are essential. When interacting with any wild animal, regardless of its perceived temperament.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then of course we've got crocodiles, those masters of ambush who just lurk beneath the water's surface.
It's like something out of a horror movie, you know? Those reptilian eyes like peering out from the murky depths.
Their whole hunting strategy, it's all about, stealth and surprise. They'll lie motionless in the water, just waiting for that perfect moment to strike.
And when they do strike, it's with lightning speed and incredible force. We talked about their jaw strength earlier, but it's worth, I think, emphasizing just how powerful their bite really is.
Imagine a force of over 3,700 pounds per square inch, clamping down on you. That's enough to crush bone, tear flesh, and drag even large prey underwater.
And once they've got you in their grasp, there's that infamous death roll, the spinning maneuver they use to drown and dismember their prey.
It's a terrifyingly efficient hunting technique. But what's really fascinating about crocodiles, I think, is that they're not just brute force predators. They're also incredibly intelligent and adaptable.
Oh, I've heard stories about them, using twigs and branches as lures, to attract birds that are looking for nesting material. That's pretty clever.
Exactly. They're capable of learning and problem solving, and they've been known to use tools to their advantage.
All right, let's shift gears a bit here and talk about those venomous creatures on the list, the scorpions and snakes. We touched on their deadly venom in part one, but I'm curious to kind of explore the science behind it. What exactly makes venom so potent?
Venom, it's a complex cocktail, really, of toxins, each with its own specific target and effect on the body. It's a product of millions of years of evolution. It's been honed to perfection for subduing prey or deterring predators.
So it's not just one type of venom that affects all species in the same way then?
No, not at all. Different species have evolved. Venoms that are tailored to their specific needs and prey. Some venoms like those found in cobras and mambas. They target the nervous system. Causing paralysis and respiratory failure.
That's terrifying. It essentially shuts down the body's vital function.
Other venoms like those of vipers and rattlesnake, they attack the circulatory system,
Right.
disrupting blood clotting and causing massive internal bleeding.
It's amazing and a bit scary to think about the variety of ways that these toxins can incapacitate and even kill.
And what's really fascinating is that it's a constant evolutionary arms race. Prey animals, they develop resistance to certain venoms over time, which forces the venomous creatures to evolve even more potent toxins in response.
So it's this never-ending cycle of adaptation and counter-adaptation,
Yeah.
constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the natural world.
Precisely. Now let's talk about those animals that kill through disease transmission, like the assassin bugs and dogs. We mentioned rabies and Chagas disease earlier, but I think it's important to emphasize the broader implications of these diseases.
You're right. This is where the conversation, I think, goes beyond individual animals and touches on the interconnectedness of the entire ecosystem.
Exactly. The spread of diseases like rabies and Chagas disease, it's not just a matter of bad luck. It's often linked to human actions that disrupt that delicate balance of nature.
So we're talking about things like deforestation, habitat fragmentation, climate change, all of that.
Absolutely. When we destroy animal habitats, we force them into closer contact with humans, which increases the risk of disease transmission. And climate change, well, it's altering the distribution of disease carrying insects.
Yeah.
Spreading them to new regions and making it harder to control outbreaks.
It's a reminder that our actions they have ripple effects throughout the natural world for sure.
Indeed, it's a complex web of interactions, and we can't ignore the role we play in shaping the health of both ourselves and the planet.
Which brings us to that most unexpected entry, I think, on the list, humans. It's a sobering thought, really, that we're the second deadliest animal on the planet. What does that say about our species, really?
It's a complex question. No easy answers there, but I think it highlights our capacity for both incredible compassion and devastating violence.
It's a duality that's both fascinating and unsettling. On the one hand, we have the ability to care for and protect each other, and on the other hand, we're capable of inflicting immense harm.
And I think that's a tension that we need to grapple with as we navigate our relationship with the natural world.
Now, before we move on to part 3, I want to circle back to the number one killer on our list, mosquitoes. What exactly makes them such efficient vectors for disease?
Their ability to thrive in a variety of environments, their feeding habits,
Right.
and their sheer abundance. I mean, all of that contributes to their effectiveness in spreading diseases.
So they're adaptable. They need blood to reproduce, and there are a lot of them. Right?
Exactly. Plus they're constantly evolving, developing resistance to insecticides and spreading to new regions. This makes the fight against mosquito-borne diseases. I mean, it makes it incredibly challenging.
So what can we do to protect ourselves from these tiny but deadly creatures?
Well, there are a number of strategies, really, both on an individual level and a global scale.
Yeah.
On a personal level, using mosquito nets, wearing protective clothing, and eliminating standing water where mosquitoes breed. I mean, all of that can make a big difference.
And what about vaccines and other medical interventions?
Those are crucial as well. There's been significant progress, in developing vaccines for diseases like malaria, and early treatment is essential for preventing severe complications.
It sounds like a multi-pronged approach is needed to combat this global threat.
Absolutely. It requires a combination of individual actions, public health measures, and global cooperation to effectively address the challenges posed by mosquito-borne diseases. Well, this has been an incredibly insightful look at the deadliest animals on the planet. We've gone from the power of hippos to the intricate science of venom, and I'm already rethinking my understanding of the natural world. I mean, really, it's been a fascinating journey so far, and we're not done yet. In part 3, we'll delve into the ethical considerations surrounding our interactions with these animals, and we'll explore how we can coexist in a way that benefits both humans and the natural world. I'm looking forward to unpacking those ethical considerations. I really am. It's a crucial part of this conversation, and I can't wait to explore those complexities further. Stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive. Welcome back for this final part of our deep dive.
It's been a journey into the world's deadliest animals. We've gone from lions all the way to, those tiny mosquitoes, and we've uncovered some truly surprising stuff along the way, about the threats that they pose and how those threats they actually connect back to our own actions, as humans.
It's been a journey that's really, I think, challenged how we think about the word dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, we've seen that it's not just about like sharp teeth and claws and stuff. It's also about disease. It's about ecological disruption and even our own capacity for violence as humans.
Totally, totally. And that kind of brings us to this, I think, crucial question that we haven't fully tackled yet, and that's the ethical side of things. The ethical considerations around our relationship with these animals, even the ones that, well, frankly, give us the chills. It's easy to say, oh, we should protect all creatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the situation, it gets kind of murky when their very existence clashes with human safety.
No, it's a complex issue, no doubt about it. Take crocodiles, for example. I mean, they're apex predators, right?
Yeah.
Vital to their ecosystems, but they also pose a clear danger to people. So how do we reconcile those competing interests? Where do we draw the line?
Yeah, because it's easy to say protect everything when you're at a distance, right? But what about those communities, those people who are living alongside these animals every single day? Their perspective, I mean, it's essential too, right? So what does respecting an animal's intrinsic value, what does that actually look like in action? Especially when it's, say, a crocodile eyeing up your livestock or worse, right?
It's got to be about moving beyond that kind of us versus them mentality, I think. Instead of seeing these animals as enemies to be conquered or problems to be solved, what if we viewed them as cohabitants? Where we're all sharing this planet, sharing its resources, and even facing similar challenges, right? Like habitat loss or climate change.
So it's about finding ways to coexist, peacefully and sustainably, even when it's tough, right?
Exactly. That might mean using strategies like habitat conservation, creating safe corridors for wildlife, and educating communities on how to live alongside these animals and minimize conflict. Right. Think of it like good neighbors, but across species lines.
Makes sense. It makes sense. I'm also thinking about how many of the threats that these animals pose, I mean, they're made worse by human actions in the first place, right? I mean, think about it: deforestation, climate change, habitat encroachment. I mean, all of that, it's pushing animals closer and closer to us, which of course increases the risk of conflict and disease spread.
Yeah, absolutely right. You've hit the nail on the head. We can't just focus on individual animals, right? Or isolated incidents. We need to address the root causes of these conflicts.
Yeah. So it's about seeing that bigger picture, acknowledging that ecological, social and economic factors. I mean, they're all tangled up. We're all tangled up in this.
Right. It demands collaboration between scientists, policymakers, local communities, conservation organizations. We need all hands on deck, so to speak.
It's also interesting to consider the role that fear plays, in our perception of these animals. I mean, we've been, kind of conditioned to be afraid of snakes, spiders, sharks, creatures that are often painted as villains in stories and movies and stuff.
And that fear, it's often rooted in misunderstanding, right? Which can lead to irrational actions like the indiscriminate killing of these animals, even when they're not posing an immediate threat.
Which is why education, I think it's just so vital. We need to replace that fear with understanding. The more we learn about these animals, their behaviors, their roles in the ecosystem, the less we'll fear them, right? And the more likely we are to find ways to coexist peacefully.
It's about recognizing that our fear, it's often based on ignorance.
Yeah.
And the antidote to ignorance is knowledge, it's understanding, and a healthy dose of respect for the natural world, for sure.
So for our listeners out there, what can they do? I mean, it can feel overwhelming, right? Knowing that these threats exist, but also wanting to be part of the solution. Where do we even begin?
It starts with awareness. Right here, right now. Educate yourself about the animals in your area, right? What threats do they face, and how do those threats connect back to to human actions. And there are incredible organizations out there doing, fantastic work to protect these species and their habitats. Support them.
And don't underestimate the power of using your voice. Advocate for policies that promote sustainable development and address those root causes, of human wildlife conflict that we talked about, earlier.
Exactly. Be mindful, of your own impact on the environment. Make choices that minimize your footprint, and don't be afraid, to have those conversations, even if they're tough. Share what you've learned.
Because ultimately, it's about shifting our perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our fate, it's intertwined with the fate of these animals and with the health of our planet as a whole.
Well, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the deadliest animals on the planet. It's been a journey that's challenged us. It's surprised us, and hopefully sparked a deeper, I think, appreciation for the complexities of the natural world.
And we didn't shy away from the darker aspects, right? The threats, the conflicts, and the sometimes uncomfortable realities of coexistence. But I hope our listeners that you come away from this with a sense of wonder, a desire to learn more, and a renewed commitment to being responsible stewards of this incredible planet that we all share.
Because remember, it's not about living in fear. It's about understanding. It's about respecting, and it's about finding ways to live in harmony with these incredible creatures. Because the world is a far richer, more vibrant place with them in it.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, keep learning. The world is full of wonders, even in its most dangerous corners. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.